James was a young man who lived alone in a town. His parents had died long ago. He was a thief, and his friend Mike was too. They robbed houses together. James planned everything. They targeted rich homes. Ones with expensive jewelry, cash, and valuable items. Mike trusted his plans because they never failed. So far, they had never been caught. Life felt easy, and they enjoyed the thrill of each success. One evening, James had a headache. He went to the medical store. It was crowded because a clinic was nearby. He bought painkillers. A man came with a prescription. The storekeeper gave him medicines and said,
"These injections are $50 each."
The man nodded.
Okay. Give me.
He paid, and his phone rang.
Yes. Mom. Congratulations. You are a grandma now.
He said.
Your grandson is born. You can come. I have enough money. But bring more if you can. I might need it anytime. You know, hospital bills, medicines, injections, and baby things. Everything costs a lot.
James' eyes widened in surprise. He turned and headed home. Once there, he boiled some milk and poured it into a glass. He took the painkillers, drank the warm milk, and lay down. He closed his eyes and soon fell asleep. The next morning, James woke up feeling better. He stretched and went to the kitchen. He made tea, took out some bread, and spread jam on a slice. Taking a bite, he chewed slowly, then sipped his tea. His thoughts returned to the man at the medical store.
Just one attendant had so much money.
He mused.
That means every patient's family carries plenty of cash.
He took a sip of tea. A smile crossed his lips. His next target was set. He leaned back in his chair and smiled to himself. That night, Mike came over. James was making tea while Mike sat at the table.
I love your tea.
Mike said.
Sometimes I feel like I come here just for your tea.
James smiled, took out some cookies, and placed them in front of him. The tea was ready. He poured it into 2 cups, handed one to Mike, and sat down with the other. Mike took a sip and smiled.
Good as always. So, what's the next plan?
James smirked.
A clinic.
Mike's eyes widened. He put his cup down.
Are you serious? A clinic? What will we even get there? Used instruments? And where would we sell them? This is crazy. We will get caught.
James leaned forward.
Just listen first.
James rested his arms on the table.
Patient attendants carry a lot of cash. At night, there is only one security guard. The clinic staff at night is just a few doctors, nurses, and ward boys. They won't resist.
Mike raised an eyebrow.
And you really think this will work?
James smiled.
Of course. No heavy locks, no alarms. Just easy money. It's the perfect job.
Mike tapped his fingers on the table, thinking. Then he nodded.
Okay.
2 days later, James and Mike went to the clinic. James pretended to be sick. As they entered the doctor's room,
Doctor, please check my friend.
Mike said.
He feels dizzy.
The doctor examined James and asked a few questions. Then, he wrote a prescription.
Get these medicines and injections.
Mike quickly interrupted.
No injections. Doctor! James is scared of them. Just medicines, please.
The doctor smiled and adjusted the prescription. Mike brought the medicines, and the doctor said,
He needs to stay here for 2 days.
James was admitted. A nurse checked his blood pressure and temperature, and then noted it on a patient chart. At lunchtime, Mike brought sandwiches and water. They had lunch. A nurse came on her round and asked,
Did he take his medicines?
Mike nodded.
Yes.
Later, he went to the washroom and flushed the medicines into the commode. Then, he returned and sat on the chair. Late at night, 3 nurses and 2 doctors were in the staff room. James sat up and whispered.
It's time to act.
Mike nodded. The patients and their attendants were asleep. Moving silently, they took wallets from bedside tables and pockets. They peeked into the VIP room. The patient was awake. They moved on. James hid the bag under his pillow and lay down. By morning, patients and attendants were awake. Panic spread as they searched for their wallets.
Where's my wallet?
Someone yelled. Soon, more voices filled the room. Dr. Robert arrived.
What's going on?
A nurse stepped forward.
The clinic was robbed last night. Someone stole the attendants' wallets.
Mike said in shock.
Doctor, my purse is gone too.
Dr. Robert turned to the nurse.
Emily. Call the police.
Then he told Mike.
Don't worry. They will catch the thief.
Mike sighed.
I need to go home for money.
He hurried out. Dr. Robert approached James with a nurse and 2 ward boys.
Give him the injection.
James' eyes widened.
No! Doctor!
The ward boys grabbed him, and the nurse quickly injected him. Soon, he lost consciousness. When he woke up, his hands were tied. He looked around and saw Mike also tied up. Dr. Robert smiled.
I saw everything on the CCTV. I knew who the thieves were.
The police officer stepped forward.
I hope prison will be better for you than this clinic.
James and Mike lowered their heads.